Ghana Connect. It's dominated the headlines the whole of this week, and even tonight, it's still dominating the headlines because of the fresh charges filed against Aisha One. Four of them in total. I'll go through all that pretty much for you if you're just joining us. But listen, this is about our land. It's about Ghana, and it's fast destruction of our environment. The Galamsey has been described now as the people involved as a cartel, and for me, it's mass destruction really. And we've heard this week from doctors at Confanoche, the number of people now developing diseases because of illegal mining and its impact on the water bodies there. Let's talk about it. Aisha One, of course, brought this up and brought this back into the limelight and hit the headlines quite strongly. That whole debacle is still raging on when the president made the following pronouncement this week.
I'm not still sure whether she was in fact deported or whether she fled the country the first time and has now come back. But whatever, there still seems to be some uncertainty about it.
So the president says uncertainty about it, and then of course the prosecutors went to court and make the pronouncement. Well, put before the court that she had sneaked out in 2017 when she was first arrested, sneaked out of the country before prosecution, averting prosecution. That generated its own set of controversy. What do you make of all that, people? Citizens are connecting tonight to have a conversation on this. And connecting with me on Zoom tonight is Awula Sewa. He is a coordinator of Eco Conscious. Awula Sewa, I believe, is the coordinator of Eco Conscious Citizens Ghana. Awula, I guess it is. Hello, Awula.
Good evening.
Hi, Awula Sewa. That's it, right? That's the gun for.
That is correct.
Okay, great. Okay, fantastic.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you, Awula. Also connecting with us tonight on Zoom is Daryl. Daryl is with Arocha Ghana. Hello, Daryl.
Hi, Evans.
Great to have you. Great to have you, Daryl.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Great. And listen, I want to get the Ghanaian Chinese take on what is happening, right? So we're connecting to a few people who lived in China and back in Ghana. They know how things are done in China by the Chinese. And then they come back here and then they hear what the Chinese are doing to us here. Julius Kwame Anthony is one of them, former Ghanaian student who lived in China and is an activist himself, thankfully. Hello, Julius.
Hi, good evening to you all and your honorable listeners.
Great, Julius. Great to have you. And also connecting tonight is your namesake, Julius. Dr. Julius Ja, also joins us now, former president of the NUCS China and current vice president of the Ghana Student in the Diaspora. Dr. Julius joins us. Hello, Doc.
Yeah, good evening to you all.
Apparently, Doc responded on my behalf earlier.
Oh, okay.
So there's a sort of confusion.
No, okay. So there's Dr. Julius and there's this Julius.
Yeah.
So I think Kwame. Let me just call you Kwame. I mean, I think it nicely differentiates. So Dr. Julius and then Kwame. Both of them are Julius, and both of them have one thing in common. They are very.
Hey,
they all are. They know China inside out because they live there, and so I'll tap into your knowledge on this. Isaac Ohinijan is a Chinese interpreter and a security analyst. He worked with the Chinese when they camped to Ghana. He interprets for them, and back in China he worked with the local media as well. Very interesting background. Isaac, thanks for connecting. Hello, Isaac.
Thank you so much, and then good evening to all listeners.
Great to have you, Isaac. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this, and because you work with the Chinese, you help with interpretation when they are here and there as well. Ken Ashigbe, Dr. Ken Ashigbe is also connecting with us on phone right now. Dr. Ashigbe, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Evans.
In fact, let me start with you, Dr. Ken Ashigbe, because I want to start with you with the very latest development on this matter with Aisha One. I know when she was first arrested, you led a petition to the Attorney General's office and complained about the kid gloves were treating her with, etc. As we speak tonight, in the last hour, we've learned that the Attorney General is now almost appears throwing the book at her now. 4 charges have now been filed against her. She's now been remanded in prison custody to appear in August. I wonder what your reaction is to this latest development.
Well, thank you very much, Evans. And let me say that I spoke to the Attorney General himself. I had called him saying that I wanted to send a copy of the petition that we sent in December 2018 to him. Because you notice that petition, when we sent it, we copied the Chief Justice, we copied the President, and all of that. Nobody, had, that was not even to acknowledge receipt of it. And that that one, and then the senior minister's infamous rationalization of the nolli prosequa, where the nails that, the final nails that were driven into the media coalition. And based on that, everybody, seemed with class, because it looks as if the leaders themselves did not want to, deal with the issue. Fast forward, the president in 2019 then conceded that it was an error. So we are very happy that for once the Attorney General has taken this up and he's acting on it. And so for me, it is important that the media would throw all the light on it to ensure that we cover this case as, as closely as we can, and disregard her lawyer, definitely lawyer Grabia that has gotten some money to be made from this. So it is his right to be able to say that it's the media blowing the situation where very soon we'll be importing water. When the Companoche is telling us that now kidney diseases are affecting people lower, and then the numbers have gone up, that the fact that it would, if you listen to Frimpong Boateng, he tells us how much it will cost us to have to reclaim lands and all of that. Now that we know that when some of these farmers go to the farm, they actually have to buy pure water to mix agrochemicals to spray their farms. And we have a situation where Japan is, already complaining about our cocoa. The EU is complaining about our cocoa. And, you can see glaring that this is some economic warfare taking place. So I'm happy that this is happening, but it is important that we will train our eyes on it. And it's important that we also get behind those who are in the network of Aishawam. Aishawam is not acting alone. There are some very senior connected people who are behind this. And this is where investigative journalism has to come on board to ensure that we can unearth this. And this is the places that we would also expect the Attorney General and the prosecutors and investigators who are working in there to find out how this lady came back to town, to find out, the issues about her money, how connected she is, where her bank accounts are, where does the money go to, and all of that. So we can bring all those people who have collaborated with her, since the time of Pipperton thing, all the issues that have been happening there, and ensure that we can exact the maximum punishment that the NPP government, in amending the Minerals and Mining Act, have now brought upon. That the president himself is saying that it should happen. But it's not going to happen as a matter of course. If the fourth estate of the realm do not focus attention on it and ensure that anything that happens in court, we report it. And then they know that the whole country is really looking into this. And it's important that as we talk about all of this, we also remind ourselves that when the Deputy Minister for Land and Natural Resources, Mr. Mreku Duka, talks about the fact that it's the media brewing, storms in teacups, then it's as if he doesn't understand the things that we're talking about. The fact that this is an existential threat. This is an economic warfare that we're dealing with. And we need to deal with it with all the aggression that we all can command.
And that's a good place to start. And I want to focus a bit more on this Chinese link to this, because this, Aisha, one thing has brought this to the fore. And I want to bring in a few of our connectors tonight who have lived in China and are back in Ghana. And before I do that, I want to share some facts that we pulled up this week on PM Express, which is fascinating indeed. According to the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, as of 2017, Ghana attracted 50,000 gold seekers from China alone. 50,000 gold seekers from China alone. And that they also record that one Galamsey kingpin allegedly employs over 300 Chinese migrants. And if you speak to the Small Scale Miners Association, they tell you that the real destruction, yes, the Ghanaians, you see them on the ground, the Ghanaians bring them in, but they finance, they actually, they are the financial muscle behind what we're seeing, the destruction. The numbers are telling. Let me bring you in, Dr. Julius Ja. You lived in China. You're back here in Ghana. In fact, Isaac is also very interesting. He has a very unique perspective on this. Isaac, you first, I guess, because you work with the Chinese. You are interpreter for them when they come back here. And you also work with them back in China. And you read the details I just shared. The sheer number of Chinese coming into Ghana just to chase after gold. What's your reaction to it, knowing what happens in China, what China will tolerate in China, and what we allow them to do here?
I'm very grateful for tonight. Actually, this is the second time we are discussing this issue. The first time it came, I was in the studio. We spoke about it. In China, to me, in China, this can never happen in China. The reason is, 3 days ago, I spoke to one Chinese media guy. He works in Weibo. Weibo is one of the biggest Chinese, media platform. We're speaking about, we're just discussing about this particular issue. The way they see it is different from the way we see it. I'm also a security person. I don't want to go much into details because there are a lot of big hands that are involved both in and out. And then Aisha is really, really protected. Back in China, things like this can never be tolerated as a foreigner. Even getting inside, whatever you do. Example, I used to, when I started my TV program in China, they see me, I didn't have a working visa. I worked for 3 good months. After working for 3 good months, a Chinese went to report me to the immigration. They picked me up. Everywhere I went, they showed me every video. They took everything from me. I came back to Ghana. Coming back to Ghana, who brought these Chinese people to Ghana? Who gave them the links? Which people are we talking about? Our own people, our own Ghanaians. They are the main people behind Aisha. So if we want to talk about Aisha issue, the statistics you gave is more than that. I had wanted to give a figure, but the figure you gave, it's far, far more than that. A Chinese kingpin has more than 550 Chinese workers. 550 Chinese workers working in Ghana. They came in through places that I cannot mention online, on air. So the way we are dragging the matter, the way we are pulling the matter, where we are passing, I think we are deviating a little bit. We should look much on the security aspect. Let's forget about that, the subject Aisha. Forget about subject Aisha. Let's go around the whole problem. Security aspect, the whole. Do you know the people who went to the court the other day? Do you people know that a Chinese came there whom nobody knows who he is? All these are the things that we have to look at. And this matter, some big men outside this country, they are into this matter. They are following the thing very, very, very much. So if we are not dipping deeply into this and we focus about maybe Asawan B from China, Asawan is involved in this, whom we see involved with all these things, yes. When my big boss himself, Ken, was speaking, he spoke a lot. He said a lot. They are the seniors. But we that I stayed 11 years in China, and I typically, a Chinese will not allow you, a foreigner, to just penetrate and then do things that will hurt. They can tell you that, hey, look, if you think you want to destroy this country, go back to your country. That is exactly what they can tell you there.
Yeah, and then you say you were bundled out yourself and brought back to Ghana. Let me bring in Dr. Julius. Dr. Julius, what's your own take on this?
Yeah, so thank you very much and good evening to your listeners. Yeah, so I personally agree with the two earlier speakers. As somebody who spent many years in China, you will basically not be allowed to do what is happening here in China. There are strict rules, whether you are a student or you're a worker, whether you're on a student visa or you're on working visa. There are strict rules that govern us during our stay in China. And these international conventions on host nations and foreign citizens in countries spell it out clearly that whilst in those countries, I mean, during our orientation, I remember very well, as a student, the very first course you take is law of China. They want you to understand the laws, how the system there works. So in those laws, they make you get it clear that you are there for the purpose of which you are there. You cannot break the law. And as a student union, as president of Ghanaian students in China, 2018-19, we've had a lot of students who fell short of the laws and they were dealt with. Most of them is deportation. And I've heard the whole issue this week of whether she was deported, with the whole definition. In China, you are arrested, placed in jail 7 days, 1 month, 3 months, and then you are handcuffed and then placed in the flight and taken back home.
Wait. So when they put you in a flight, you are in handcuffs?
No, whilst you exit.
Okay.
Right, the security stands there to make sure the flight takes off. So whilst you are entering the flight, you are handcuffed till the flight takes off. It's ready to take off. They come out and then the flight takes off. They make sure the flight takes off before you go. So the whole issue this week of whether she was deported, and I mean, the terminology is a little confused. And I think we can do more for our country based on the reports that are coming from the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. It's very disheartening. And we can't do this in China. And we expect that we also have rules that govern foreigners that come into our country.
I mean, Kwame, so you also spent time in China, but really what's happening here? The Chinese won't allow you to do that in China. So it's a case of, should we even be blaming the Chinese at all? Should we be blaming ourselves? I mean, this is something that we are doing to ourselves. It's not really about the Chinese. They are, advancing their economic, financial interests, is it not, Kwame?
Well, yes, you are right about that. And I think Doc and the earlier speakers laid a clear background for what it is like in China and the clear disparity that is here. But one thing I want to make also fundamentally clear is that China is a surveillance state. It's a policed republic. So every move you make in China is being watched. I think the only time there's an exception is if you are in your bedroom. Even that is in doubt. Because your communication, the social media you use, everything is being surveilled by the Chinese Republic. So it is absolutely impossible for you to do anything in China that the Chinese government is not aware of. Every individual is known. Every activity the individual undertakes is known. If you do anything in China which is contrary to the law and you are not caught, then the assumption is that it is not serious to them and they do not want to catch you. They would catch you. So that is the difference between us and them. It would never happen a situation in China where a foreign national who has degraded their environment so badly like Aisha Wang will be deported, and it will be in doubt where the leader of the Chinese government, Xi Jinping, will make utterances such as he's not even sure that she has been deported and whatever. It's almost impossible for that to happen in China. But then let's situate the issues within our context. We do not run a policed republic similar to what China does. So we are unable to tell what people are doing at every point in time. But where is the difference? The difference is that in the case of Aisha Wang, we have somehow managed to identify the leader of a cartel who is destroying our country, who is not a Ghanaian. So what is the whole point of not prosecuting her long ago or jailing her if the need be? What is the whole point? So it goes to, expose the fact that this thing is not about the nationality of the person or the identity of the person. This thing is about an innate Ghanaian failure where we are either unconcerned about our environment or we are overly corrupt about the gains we make out of there, doing this illegal mining, that we do not care the consequences, whether it is foreigners who come to join us, people the likes of Aisha Huang, in whose country you cannot do the things they are doing, come here and destroy our country. The Chinese, anywhere they are not even concerned about employing immediately, the environment, the people of that community. They bring their own people. If you want to look at typical examples, go to the Confucius institutes they set up across in the world. They do not employ the nationals of the countries they set up those places in. They export their own citizens and bring them there. It's the same apparatus they are using even in the mining sector, whether illegally or legally. All the lucrative areas are given to their nationals. So why do we allow them to destroy our country? Why are we tolerating that? It's something we shouldn't tolerate. So the security aspect of this thing should be investigated. The US has raised alarm about China and the use of their Confucius Institute to spy on other countries. In Ghana here, at the University of Ghana, they even name it Confucius Institute at the University of Ghana, not of the University of Ghana, which means it's not part of the university, it's just over there. So whatever they do, the University of Ghana cannot even trace or look into the building and see what they are doing over there. We don't know who they are watching using these apparatus. So see, we must take this thing beyond the mining. We must take it beyond the environmental issues. We must look at the security context of it. There are people who rumor that Aisha Huang is a Chinese spy. Because personally, I do not understand why our former senior minister, would have interest in Aisha Huang to the extent of making public utterances that deporting her instead of jailing her here in Ghana is better for us because it has effects on Sinohydro deal. Is Aisha Huang a Chinese ambassador? Is she the Chinese ambassador? What relationship does she have with the Chinese government? So all these things must be unraveled. It goes to betray the fact that there are big men in and outside of the country who are part of a syndicate with them. And if we want to solve this, we should start from digging out our own people who are involved.
Yeah, I mean, and that point I want to bring in, Awula. Awula, this is about us, right? Not really about the Chinese. This problem we are dealing with, this is really about us.
Well, I mean, as the last speaker has said, I mean, sensible countries have laws and regulations and they ensure that those who break it are dealt with. I'm not sure it's just about China being a surveillance state. It's about a country that takes its laws and regulations seriously. And I want to agree with the fact that, yes, Aisha Huang should be dealt with within the full rigors of the law. But we need to look beyond that. Has illegal mining stopped because she's been arrested? Of course not. And we know as a fact that it's going on as we speak. It started even before she came into the country. So we need to get to the bottom of it and follow the money, as has been said, who are benefiting from it. But we know that there are Ghanaians who are also involved in destroying our environment to make a few, for a mess of pottage. They just don't care about the environment. So we need to look a bit deeper and not be diverted by the whole Aisha Huang thing. Otherwise, we miss the point. Illegal mining is going on. Our environment is being destroyed. And we need to follow the money. And we need to find out why our processes are not being complied with. And I think we all have an idea of what is going on.
I'm curious. I mean, you work with eco-conscious citizens, and in decades ago, our forefathers and grandparents who live in the villages, they were so in touch with nature, they were so protective of nature, and you think that that sort of heritage will simply just carry on. But now, as we see, that's so far gone now. In the villages where we used to take it for granted that the forest would be protected, the river bodies, now no longer so. What has changed? Why is it that our own people who used to really be protective of the environment, we have all these myths and superstition about when to go to the forest, when not to go to the forest, when to fish on the river, when not, because you wanted to give the river a rest. All these things we invented to keep the environment in these villages have simply overnight disappeared, and we are destroying it at will. What's happening there?
It's difficult to see what's happening. I mean, still in Accra, fishermen don't go to fish on Tuesdays. They don't fish on Tuesdays because, as you have said, you need to give the fish a rest. So we need to look at what is actually happening. Sometimes when the tree is, beginning to rot, you don't, from the bottom, you don't see what is happening. But my view is that we have to look at things from the top. What is the political will? Why is it that we've all sat idly by and allowed our environment to be destroyed? And as you rightly said, it's not just Aisha Huang. A short while ago, we found out about the women's organizer of the NPP who was involved in, it wasn't illegal mining, but I think they had gone too close to the riverbed.
Well, what she was accused, she denied. I mean, allegedly, she denied categorically.
Well, allegedly. But the point which is not in doubt is that what is going on is not limited to foreigners. It's a free for all. It's a free for all. And I think if you want to stop it, everybody needs to tell the people funding them that stop it. Our rivers will soon be poisoned beyond redemption, and let's do something about it. We have to call off, put a pause on the community mining. We have to put a pause on so many things because we are not monitoring what's going on. And it's not scaremongering when we repeat that very soon we'll not be able to, at this rate, will not be able to drink the waters from here. We'll have to import water. Is that what we want to happen before we get a grip on what is taking place?
Yeah,
I think not. I think the time to come has, the time for action is now.
Is now. I mean, Daryl, with Arocha, am I right to assume that Arocha, you work with the communities when it comes to protecting environment, etc.?
That's very right.
Okay,
that's very right.
So maybe help me when you go into these communities, the villages, etc., to work with the communities in protecting the environment. What sense do you get? Those traditions that we held so dear, you know, the myths that we invented, the superstitions, that attachment to nature, has it disappeared? And where did it go? Why are we experiencing this?
Yes, thank you very much. So just to give us some perspective, and as you mentioned, what has changed over the years. If you go to a lot of forest reserves across the country, there is evidence to show that in the past, mining activities happened in these forest reserves. And the way and manner it was done, they would dig small wells, go deep down into the ground, bring the gold up, process it, and even try to cover some of these pits. And what we have seen in these current times is that people are also still interested in gold, but now do not care about what lives on top of the land. They want to clearly get the trees off before they have access to them. And if you recall, when Galamsey was also getting out of hand in somewhere in 2008 and all of that, we had clear narratives, even from some of our leaders, politicians, also saying that this is a livelihood enterprise, so we should give all of these people a chance. When clearly as a state, we have clear laws on how people can have access to some of these mineral resources. So I think there has also been some deliberate, I would say unconsciously, maybe I should use the word unconscious, push by government and the political actors to get people into some of these enterprises that are not sustainable, mainly also to push for some interest that they have, because a lot of these push, you see strongly, they coming up during the election period and all this time. And this is also the time when some of these political actors relax some of the rules governing some of these extractive, so more people can have access. And I think that in trying to inure and get some votes more for political expediency, it has really gotten out of hand and become a way of life that we cannot now control it. And now we seem to be drowning in it as a state. So I think values have changed. And even the political narrative now is also looking at securing and sustainability of the environment. They seem to be more focused on extractive. I recall very recently, our Minister of Lands, which is supposed to be ensuring that our lands are protected, use of the land is sustainable, was on another platform talking about the fact that Ghana is now having or exploring 500 new exploration activities for minerals. And he was so excited about it, as if all that matters for Ghana now is extraction. We are forgetting that the same land is where our water comes from, where our food comes from, and this is where our medicine comes from. And you can see that it is also affecting even our cash crop and the value we are getting from all of that. So I think the narrative can be linked to the changing interest and also commitment of our state agencies, in terms, particularly government. I wouldn't say the state agency, because if we look at institutions like the Forestry Commission, they are still committed to their mandate, but there's still a lot of interference from the political government in terms of what they should pursue, what they should not pursue. And even you also talk about recent times also granting a lot of prospecting licenses in forest reserve, which didn't used to be the case. So I think it's also the changing narrative and values that our politicians are making the children or the youth of today see as relevant. If we talked about a green pathway for development, the country would also rally behind that. But at the moment, the value we are sending out is that the extractive is the way to go. Government finance mechanism of budget is also supporting that. And that is why I think that we have more of these issues escalating now than before.
Okay, I want to bring in, as I wrap up now, Ken Ashigbe. Mr. Ashigbe, so clearly something must change. We went on this fight in the early years of 2017, the Media Coalition. We all came together. For you now, what do you think must change to really get some real results this time around?
Well, I think it's about calling spades what they are, you know. And so when I hear a lot of our people talk about the fact that's not a Chinese thing, it's one of the errors we make. Empirical evidence shows that, yes, there are some foreigners in it, but the Chinese influence is really a lot. Not only are they, you know, coming in and doing it, they're recruiting a lot of the people and they are responsible. So we need to actually focus on that tangent and deal with that Chinese, effect. We also definitely, the critical thing in all of this is that we have all the laws, we have all the policies and everything. Our leaders need to just execute what it is that they say they're doing. There should be a lot more transparency, you know. So, the whole conversation about community mining, you know, it's not transparent. Who are the people who are in it? Is it actually the community, or still it's just interests who are involved in it? And I think finally, journalists, we need to continue this fight, but we need to move away from where it was just you and I talking a lot more about it into a lot more investigative journalism. So for multimedia, for example, you need to equip Erastus with a lot more, you know, of the things that would allow him to be able to do that. Other media houses need to do that. We need a lot more investigation. Let's track the money. Let's follow the money, so that we can get evidence that we can put out. And then I want to trust this Attorney General who says he will prosecute once the evidence is there. So that has to be done. And then also a lot of our middle class, you know, instead of sitting in your corners and your school WhatsApp pages and talking about it, we should all be seen to be doing something about it. Let's support the media to follow it, because we've seen that, you know, the other three estates of the realm really have not done what it is that they ought to do. Let's support the media with resources to be able to actually investigate and go after this. But we all should be committed about this. When the mercury gets into the fish in anywhere, and you come to Accra and you buy it and you eat it, those heavy metals, they don't decompose. So we are all at risk. And so we all should be concerned about this existential threat, and we all should be doing something about it.
I'm grateful, Ken Ashigbe. I want to give 20 seconds each to all my other connectors. What must change? Awula, let me start with you. 20 seconds, what must change? Hello, Awula.
Stop granting the prospective licenses for people to go and mine in forest reserves, and take a grip. And that's it. Have a grip and be serious about ending illegal mining, because at the moment we are not particularly serious. Okay,
Darryl, what must change?
I would say that let's take out the interests of our elite class in the communities and also at the district level, and listen to the voices of the people. The district mining committee should involve civil society. You should listen to the people more, and even at the national level, the interministerial committee or whatever they've set up now should also ensure that there is some neutral voices in all of that. Unless we listen to the people and ensure that their rights are respected, we'll keep allowing the interests of the late override all of that. And that is very dangerous for the fight against Galamsey.
Kwame, 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think all that must change is that let's chase our own people. Our own people are the ones who lead the Chinese here. They are the ones who lead the foreigners here. They know the communities. they link them to those who are in authority who could shield and protect them. So the media should chase our own people who are involved. Our politicians should be traced and publicly embarrassed.
focus on ourselves. Isaac?
Yeah.
Hello, Isaac. Okay, Dr. Julius?
Yeah, so I want to wrap up by saying that it's time for us to be citizens and not spectators. I think that this whole thing has to depend on us. We are citizens. If there is a mess here, the Chinese will go back to their country and we will be stuck with the mess here. So it's time for us to stand up as citizens and fight this menace. The Chinese don't depend on most of the things we produce here. They import their stuff. And so whatever is happening here, they don't really care much about them. Our food crops are not their staple plants. They import what they have. So we need to be citizens. We need to stand up for our environment.
Thank you very much. Papa, what are people big saying? Papa?
Great. So we have some messages from some of our connectors from the diaspora. This one here says that the president's answer that he was not sure of Aisha was deported clearly show that his various appointees have been feeding him with wrong information, which always makes him believe things are as very rosy as he thinks. And this is from Sami in Kumasi. Now, there's a message from Nene all the way from UK, and he says that Brother Nuete, which I believe that is referring to Evans, you have become too British, you can't even pronounce Awula. He says you were struggling to pronounce Awula earlier. Now, this is from Old Soldier in Kumasi, and says
Nathaniel is looking at me like something. I saw the name, the person who wrote the name, I can't see the handwriting. Awula.
Awula. Yeah, it has to come in Ghana. It's a guy.
Sacrilege.
Awula.
Sacrilege.
Awula.
But Evans, Old Soldier from Kumasi, says, to your question about our traditions and the forest, the gods stopped biting. That's why.
That's an interesting one, yes.
People would not dare do all this if they were still punishing people like they used to. This one from Upper Tu Emmanuel from Volta region says, the Chinese are not doing this by themselves. No one will leave their country and come here and do this. Someone must be inviting them, and others must be sharing the good news.
Okay. Thank you very much, Oblanu. Oblanu Papani. So that's Ghana Connect tonight. And guess what? Up next is the man, Nathaniel Titi Atto, with Qatari Quest Quiz.
The 2022 World Cup begins and